So first, let us start with accounting and business. So accounting is introduced primarily for a business enterprise, but it can also be used for personal purposes, like tracking down your expenses. But it is more done. It is more tailored for the needs of a business, and it evolved in response to the needs of business managers for relevant financial information necessary to run the business effectively and to guide management in making plans and decisions. So you're going to have your organization management subject, and this subject, Fundamentals of Accounting, Business and Management 1, is one of the key components to guide the managers to make those hard decisions. And satisfies by providing and communicating the required information. What information? The financial information. Yun yung pinaka-importante sa FABM1. Not only to the decision makers, but also but also to other interested parties. And it is useful not only for a business enterprise, but for any kind of organization. So whether it's a profit or a non-profit, or even the government or association that will need the financial information. So sino po ba ang nangangailangan ng financial information? Halos lahat naman. Account. Okay. Okay. So there are three types of businesses, and one is the servicing business. No? So ano po ba yung servicing business? Here is the definition. No? I already presented it in a tabular form. So definition of servicing business is that it involves rendering of intangible products or services to customers for a certain fee, which is higher than the cost of services rendered. So medyo merong konting why. Akala ko ba, sir, it's service business. Bakit meron pong products? You're still being served. There are some services that still serves a product, like Starbucks or a hotel. You have the product, which is the hotel room itself, but it is not really the product being sold to you per se, but rather the service, the ambience. Yun po yun. Kaya, kompletong definition ang binigay sa atin. So input, it is more labor intensive kasi wala kang product. Output is the intangible or service itself. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of a servicing business? Of course, number one is the absence of inventory on the product. But in order to provide the service, you still have to use inventory. For example, the hotel. Yes, it's still a product. No? Nandun pa rin. There's no inventory. But in order to achieve that amazing service, you still need to use some products. Like Starbucks. The product is the coffee, but it still requires services. Hindi naman po siya katulad ng grocery. And number two, no production facilities. Hindi po siya required. Disadvantages is the inability to standardize services. I think this is one of the most difficult industries or business because each person or each customer in their own journey, the customer journey, has his or her own sets of standards. So your service might be excellent for some, but terrible for others. So medyo mahirap po i-gauge ang standard or quality. And number two is maintaining human capital. Kasi more on labor ka, so you have to find the necessary human capital all the time. So what are examples? You have repair shops, salons, banko, no? Banks, they are considered as services. Hospitals, professions such as accountancy, bookkeeping or accounting services, CPA, a law firm, construction firm, educational institutions, etc. So here is the operating cycle of a servicing business. And a good example of that for accountants or future accountants is SGB. We will discuss SGB sooner or later. So we start always with cash on hand, though it can start from any point. So cash on hand is used to pay employees and expenses. And why do you have to pay your employees and expenses? In order to perform the service. Because those employees, if you do not pay them, then they will not do their service. They will complain you. Rereklamo ka nila. Or worse, they will just resign and then you will have a gap in your labor. Sorry. There you go. And then once the service has been performed, you will receive the payment. So you got 4 steps. Pwede naman po kasi siyang magsimula sa receives payment. But usually, we start with cash on hand. Yeah. Merchandising business. So it involves buying of goods or merchandise. Merchandise na, hindi na service. Which will be sold to customers at a price higher than the purchase cost. So in layman terms, if you sell, if you buy, let's say a ball pen at 10 pesos per piece, it's a wholesale, and then for retail, you can sell it at around 15 to 20 pesos. Depends on you. At a profit. So input goods or merchandise bought from suppliers. And the output is tangible. So you can touch it. Like, for example, the laptop, the mouse, your cellular phone, they are tangible products. And they're also considered as merchandise. So what are the advantages? Visible products. Less conversion, time, and effort. You do not have to produce your own product. You just have to buy, let's say, a wholesale of this item and just sell it at a profit. And what are the disadvantages? Of course, it's inventory management. Not all inventory are created equal. There are some which are considered as fast moving. And there are slow moving inventory. So you have to gauge your items, which one is fast selling or fast moving, shall I say, and which one is slow moving. And another disadvantage is constant monitoring because some of these items that you're selling are susceptible to theft or to damages. Binaha yung iyong tindahan, then your merchandise will not be sellable anymore. Or you can sell it but at a lower price. So what are examples of merchandising business? Supermarkets, hardware stores, bookstores, drugstores, department stores, and more. Pero ito yung mga pinaka-prevalent na examples. And last, sorry, operating cycle of a merchandising business. So a good example, I use Uniqlo. It's made for all. That's why I use Uniqlo. You can discuss Uniqlo more in detail probably in your marketing subject. So again, it will always start with cash on hand. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to start with cash on hand, but usually it does. Then you buy the goods. That's why I decided to put cash on hand as the first step. Usually you can buy goods even without cash on hand, but utang na. You buy the goods, then store them as inventory, and then you sell the inventory at a profit. And you receive the payment. As you can see, ah, nadagdagan. Nadagdagan po ng isang step. Kanina 4 lang, but now it's 5 steps. And last but not the least, the manufacturing business. So it involves the conversion of raw material into a finished product which will be sold at a price higher than the cost of production. Sir, ano po ba yung ibig sabihin nun? Medyo masakit sa ulo. Ibig po sabihin nun, let's say, you're using paper, hindi naman po pinulot yung papel sa gubat. But you have to find the natural resources or raw materials required to make paper. And what is that? Trees. And it's not just any tree. Hindi naman po pwedeng puno ng saging. Pwede rin naman, pero yung standard version, troso po talaga. So which it can be used to make paper or furniture, or depending on the quality of the wood. No? If it's on a more inferior quality, probably matches, posporo. Good. So of course, you must have a profit. Okay. So what are the inputs? Raw materials, of course. You cannot manufacture without raw materials. Ito yung holy trinity ng manufacturing business. Labor. Of course, you cannot produce without labor. Pero sir, may machines na ngayon. No? Let's go a bit more technical. There are machines, yes, but there are still some aspects of the manufacturing business that cannot be done by machines. And overhead. Of course. Output, tangible, manufactured products. What are the advantages? Of course, you have quality control. And quality control on a more detailed topic can be discussed on your business mathematics or operations management for those who will be taking up business management in the future. And visible products. So your quality control relies on that product, hindi sa service. Disadvantages, mas malaki yung disadvantages niya, but it's a more of a high risk, high reward. But usually it's a high reward. Disadvantages is the production facilities. You have to build a factory or plant. High conversion costs. Of course, you're going to convert something from raw to a finished good. So maraming proseso. And of course, inventory management. And examples are consumer products. You still have to manufacture them. Or usually in business terms, they are called consumer products, but on a more technical side of things, they're called consumables. But consumer products, cars. Of course, cars are manufactured. And even the ball pen is manufactured. So every product that the merchandising business sells is actually manufactured. Pretty much everything. Electronics and etc. Ang ginagawa lang naman kasi ni pangalan ito, ni merchandising business is that tinutubuan niya. Pero itong si manufacturing, siya talaga yung nagpo-produce. Nakapokus lang siya on a few line of items. Operating cycle of a manufacturing business. So here, one of my examples is the San Miguel Corporation. Marami silang products. Usually relating it to beverages, but now they have expanded to other products such as flour, even infrastructure, no? But let's just focus more on their manufacturing business. So here again, cash on hand. Then you pay for the inputs, mga raw materials. You need money to buy the raw materials and even your labor and the overhead. Then convert the inputs into finished goods. So bago naman siya maging finished goods, kailangan raw materials undergo to work in progress before finished goods. We will discuss it in chapter 10. Don't worry. Sorry. And then you store the finished goods. Of course, hindi mo naman siya typically maire-release. No? Especially to the merchandisers because, of course, meron pang stock, warehousing yan. Tatago mo pa siya. Until such time that the merchandising business will tell you we need your items. That's the time you will deliver. Sales inventory. So, pag kinuha na siya ni merchandiser, then that's considered as sold for the manufacturer. Okay? Of course, when it is sold, you receive payment.